stoppage last year that was a little sooner than we had hoped. So excited to chat. So fire away.
Any questions for Coach?
Yeah, I have a quick question. So Coach Brock, what do you guys do in the way of nutritional health for the girls? So specifically like diet or nutrients?
I think there might have been a question, but I didn't hear it.
Coach Brock, can you hear me now?
I can, thank you.
Okay. So what do you guys do in the way of nutritional health for the girls? So specifically like diet or nutrients?
Sure. Actually, the meeting that I was on right before this was a meeting that we try and have weekly with some of our staff, with our strength conditioning coaches, and with our athletic trainer, and with the coaching staff, and then our dietitian who works with our team comes and meets as well. So that's obviously really individual with our student athletes, and they're always trying to maximize their ability to play the game, and each one of them has different requirements. So it's a personal engagement with our nutritionist and with our medical staff for them to try and tweak the things that they do, and it's a constant conversation. From our end of things, we encourage them to take advantage of all the resources that we have here on campus, and within our athletic department, that's a huge advantage that we do have. Is that we have really knowledgeable people who not only work with us, but desire for us to be as great as we can possibly be. So that's one of the pieces of the puzzle as a elite athlete that you have to pay attention to. And traditionally, as we've gone through, usually the way it works is as they're freshmen, it's kind of important. And as they're sophomores, they start to understand the critical part of the nature of that. And then the older they get, the more invested they are in that particular aspect of their training. And so they tend to gain more benefit as they go down the stretch, and as they learn more about their own bodies and their own diet and nutrition through the guidance of the health professionals that work with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Jack. You can unmute yourself.
Hey, Coach, how's it going today? Hopefully you can hear me. I know Zoom's always tough. Just a quick question. In the world of sports, being ranked #1, it's kind of the mentality of be hunted or the hunted. You guys are #1. It's a target on the back. I just want to know, what's the mindset coming into this year? Because you guys are going to be the hunted. You're #1. It's a big target on your back.
Yeah, I think that, our mindset's always that we're hunting. It doesn't matter if there's a target on the front or if the target's on somebody else. Our vision for who we are is that we want to continue to get better. We want to find ways to improve. And in the grand scheme of things, the number it's a number. That ranking, that says a lot about people's impression of kind of what we've done and how far we've come. But the reality from our end of things is that we really haven't done anything. We haven't won a conference championship. We haven't completed our goals as far as winning a national championship. So we still have work to do. So when we walk into the sand every day, we don't care where the target is, because we still have goals that we haven't reached. And anybody who we play, is an opportunity to get a little bit closer to those goals that we've never reached before. So, I don't think it's changed our mentality at all. We never really were driven by if we were chasing or we being chased. It's not about other people. It's about how good we can be, and if we can reach our goals.
Russell, could you talk about just getting everybody back from your roster last year after you guys had a great run in the spring of 2020. What did it mean to have players like Jess and Liv and Kristen and Claire all sort of decide that they wanted to come back and shoot for it again this year?
Yeah, I think anytime you add players who you have a really comfortable level of confidence that you know what you're going to get from them within competition, that's an incredible advantage. We have more players like that than we've ever had before. So when they come back, when those players decided to come back, we not only knew we were getting talented players who we knew they had put in the work, we know how they train, but most importantly, we knew what we were going to get when they put on the jersey and they stepped in the sand against other teams that were ranked in the top of the country. And that's always a question mark with younger players or players who haven't really been in the lineup or been in that type of environment. So there's definitely a level of comfort, not just because they're really talented, but because we also know that they're better. They've all invested in their games between last season and this season, but we also know what it looks like when they step in the sand against somebody else who's ranked number 1 or number 2 or number 5 or whatever it is, or number 23. We know the type of focus, the type of execution, the type of intensity, and the way that they're going to be able to hold each other and their team accountable in those moments as well. There's a great level of comfort and trust when those players come back and want to be a part of the program again.
I guess just sort of talk about the leadership that they bring and sort of how that impacts the team on a day-to-day basis, especially some of those younger players that are just joining the program last fall. Yeah,
I think that the ones who kind of get the bonus of having them around, it's hard to even measure that, because you're talking about some of the best players that play the sport maybe in the history of our sport. So you always want to kind of cross-reference it. It'd literally be like if the incoming freshman this year for the football team all of a sudden got to play with Joe Burrow again. Like how much better that makes every single player on the roster. And that's what we were able to add in when we brought back players that are All-Americans and some of the best players in the country. So that, their leadership is by example, their leadership is by choice, their leadership is in communication. Even the opportunity that I get and our coaching staff gets to communicate and talk with them about how our team is feeling, how they're feeling, the intensity of the practice, the drills that we might need to add in, the things that they benefited from, and the things that maybe we could, that aren't really that important in the grand scheme of things. Like, we trust their level of understanding, and we know that they're working hard. And when other players, particularly those younger players, see that in action, that wouldn't have been able to otherwise, it's a great opportunity for them to see just strong leadership and high level, like high caliber attention to detail, whether it's in training or practice or out of the sand or in the weight room, with their diet, nutrition, like all of those things. We always say that the thing that matters most in training is what they learn and believe from their teammates. We can tell them all day long. It's kind of like parenting. Like you can talk to your kids all day long. You can talk to your players all day long, but really what they genuinely believe is when they communicate with each other, when they understand what's valuable from each other. And so to have people who are that established and that trustworthy, investing for one more year, even with people who never got that shot who wouldn't have got the shot to be around them, it's just another level of leadership, and really a humongous advantage for the youngest players on our teams that wouldn't have seen them at all, and now get to spend a year with them.
I guess finally, Coach, before we move on, between now and when you start your season in Houston in a few weeks, sort of what's the next step that you want to see this team sort of take as you move into the competition portion of your year?
I think we try and keep it pretty simple. We're not trying to reinvent. It's just a constant progression of learning. The trajectory, as you get closer to competition, I don't think it can't get any steeper. It's just you want to continue to climb. So we're trying to pick and choose the battles within our training that we can actually kind of make a difference. And some players that are farther along the spectrum, it's really just more conditioning. Like, you're not going to learn a whole lot. Some of the players that that might be younger, they're still working on system. They're understanding our system, so they might have more of an opportunity to kind of cram as we get towards season. But ultimately, the biggest training tool is actual competition. In our sport and in many sports, there's nothing really like it. So when we start to get into play, things are going to start to click. So it's more right now, it's about making sure we get as much information in front of them that's relevant without overwhelming them. And then from the coaching side of things, it's trying to iron out these last couple weeks, like what individuals need to play together to help them be most successful and to give our team the best chance. So that's really what we're focusing on in these last few weeks. That's kind of our main goal, is to figure out, all right, what pairs are going to play and where are they going to play in the lineup. And then when we get into competition, then we consistently and constantly reevaluate that. And really, because we're so deep and the options are many, that's a conversation that we want to continue to have as we go through the season, because we want to be our very, very best by the time we get to May. Okay, I see a question about Hannah. Hannah came in and, her vision was that she was going to kind of be a beach player only in the spring. But with some of the injuries and the situations that arose with the indoor team, she's obviously a very established indoor player, and they know her very well, and she knows them. And so right now, her first priority is to help the indoor team be as good as they can possibly be. And obviously, if you got to watch her play this weekend, that match on Sunday, she can help them a lot. She's a great player, and we're super excited for whenever she comes back to us. But right now, we shouldn't even be on her radar, and she's really not on ours, because she's helping them do great things. So we're excited for her. When the opportunity came up and I was talking to Coach Fran, I'm like, look, there's no way I'm not going to tell her about this and give her the opportunity, because she grew up around here. It's been a goal from when she was a little kid, to put on the purple and gold and play for that team. And so I was excited to give her that opportunity, and she's going to help them in big ways this year. And whenever she's done with her indoor career here now at LSU, then she'll come out and we'll start training her again. But she'll be fine. She's invested in our game, and she will continue to invest in our game. And whenever she ends up on our roster again, we'll be excited and we'll look forward to working with her. But right now, we're just loving watching her get out there and help the indoor volleyball team do great things.